Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivardhari Gopijana Balaba Girivardhari Gopijana Balaba Girivardhari Gopijana Balaba Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Brajajanna Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajanna Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajanna Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajanna Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivardhari Jai Gopijana Balaba Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Brajajanna Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajanna Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Statara Satashi Srimada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON DBT Founder Acharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Statara Satashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Yamunamai Gangamai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Yugadam Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Rihat Mridanga Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutane Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Pranamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Shinyavari Pashtagiri Shatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, Hare Krishna. We are
Hare
reading
Krishna.
today from
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Govinda
We're reading
Prabhu,
today from, yes,
can I take 1 minute just to introduce you?
thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for joining our Sunday feast lecture online on Zoom. Today, we are honored to have His Grace Sri Govinda Datta Prabhu. He's right now in California. He's serving in California Temple, and right now he has gone for the Harinam outside at the Venice Beach in California. Sri Govinda Datta Prabhu is one of the Srila Prabhupada disciples, very exalted. He served in various different capacities and he served in various different temples. He joined ISKCON in 1973. He joined Radha Damodar Party, I believe, full-time in 1974. And he was able to remain with them until the end of the party. And then he was initiated in Chicago in 1975. And he served in many temples in the US as a temple president. He was the temple president of the Hawaii Temple, one of the most beautiful temples in the entire North America. And currently, he's trying to start a Prasadam program at UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. We are honored to have such an esteemed guest amongst us. On a short notice, Prabhuji has accepted our request. So let us welcome His Grace Sri Govinda Datta Prabhu to our ISKCON Boston online feast lecture by loudly chanting Haribol. Haribol! Haribol!
Haribol! Haribol!
Hare
Prabhuji
Krishna.
will be speaking second chapter and 40th verse. So those who may not have the verse, so I think we will be projecting the verse on the screen. So please take a look at it. I request Sri Govinda Prabhu now to please begin his class. Thank you, Prabhu. We appreciate your presence online and for giving your association.
Hare Krishna. I'm honored to be your guest today. I have to admit, Boston is one temple I have not yet visited, and I'm anxious to visit there. Hopefully soon. We don't know what's going on with this COVID. This is a new experience for America since 100 years, since that Spanish flu, 1918. So about 102 years this has not happened. And anyway, we hope that all the devotees stay safe. Actually, the temple does not encourage this Harinam that we do, but my gosh, the reason I joined ISKCON, one of the main reasons, besides prasadam, was the Harinam. I was very impressed that the devotees go and chant the names of God on the streets, because I went to 12 years of Christian school, and we would recite a prayer called the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And even I ask many Christians when I meet them, do you know what hallowed means? And many of them they fall short. So hallowed means that the name of God is very sacred. It's different than our name. So if we call the name of God, he's actually there. That's the whole idea of prayer, that God is personally there. Krishna is personally there. And we have experience with chanting the Maha Mantra that we can directly feel Krishna's presence. Krishna, the very first time I chanted, Krishna gave me a very special taste. And somehow or other, Krishna's still given me a special taste to chant my 16 rounds. And somehow by Krishna's mercy, I'm here. So thank you all very much. I'm explaining why I'm here at Venice Beach, because we go on Saturday and Sunday. It's very crowded with people right now. I'll try to give everyone, actually I can give everyone a little glimpse of what the beach is. It's a little overcast right now here, but as soon as the sun comes out, within the next couple of hours, there will be many, many, many more people, even than what's here. And many people really appreciate the Harinam. And they chant with us, they'll dance with us. Many could, don't want to be involved, but many do. And it's just a wonderful experience. And of course, we're out here trying to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy and everyone else the mercy. That's why I picked this verse today. So let's all recite this verse. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 40. Neha Brakama Nashosti. Please repeat.
Neha Bhikarma Nasosti.
Pratyavayo Navidyate.
Pratyavayo Yana Vidyate.
Swapam Apyasya Dharmasya.
Svalpapam Apyasya Dharmasya.
Trayate Mahato Bhayat.
Trayate Mahato Bhayat.
Neha Brakama Nashosti.
Neha Bhikarma Nasosti.
Pratyavayo Navidyate.
Pratyavayo Yana Vidyate.
Swapam Apyasya Dharmasya.
Svalpamapi Asya Dharmasya.
Trayate Mahato Bhayat.
Trayate Mahato Bhayat.
Would anyone else like to chant?
Neha Bhikarma Nasosti.
Neha Brakama Nashosti.
Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Pratyavayo Navidyate.
Svalpa apyasya dharmasya.
Swapamapyasya Dharmasya.
Trayate mahato bhayat.
Trayate Mahato Bhayat. Anyone else? No? Okay. Do I hear someone?
Neha bhikrama nasosti.
Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Svalpam apyasya dharmasya.
Svalpam apyasya dharmasya.
Trayate mahato bhayat.
Trayate mahato bhayat.
Anyone else? Srila Prabhupada encouraged us to chant these verses, to learn these verses as well. Srila Prabhupada made a statement that if we learn 25 verses from the Bhagavad Gita,
Neha Vikrama Nastosti.
Neha bhikarma nasosti.
Prayatya Vayo Navidyate.
Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Svalpam api asya dharmasya.
Svalpam apyasya dharmasya.
Trayate Mahato Bhayat.
Trayate mahato bhayat.
Neha Vikramanasosti.
Neha vikrama nasosti.
Vayo na vidyate.
Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Apyasya dharmasya.
Svalpam apyasya dharmasya. Trayate mahato bhayat.
Trayate Mahato Bhayat.
Sri Govinda Prabhu, your voice is, you're on mute, I guess. Yeah, I think, can you hear him? Sakran Prabhu?
okay.
Now
Am I unmuted now?
Yeah.
Now we can hear.
Yeah, something just popped on my screen, unmute, so I pressed that. I didn't know I was muted. Okay, everyone chanting. I was in Mayapur in 1976, and there were so many devotees. The Radha Damodar Traveling Sankirtan Party had chartered a plane actually to go to Mayapur. So we were chanting the verse, and after maybe a dozen devotees chanted, the devotee heading the chanting, it might have been Pushkar Krishna Swami at the time. But anyway, he stopped to allow Srila Prabhupada to begin. And Srila Prabhupada said, no, let them chant. He says it's so beneficial. So they allowed the chanting to go on for a few more minutes. Anyway, it's wonderful. So many devotees chanted. Okay, the word for word. Na.
Na.
There is not.
There is not.
Iha.
Iha.
In this yoga.
In this yoga.
Abhikrama.
Abhikrama.
In endeavoring.
In endeavoring.
Nasha.
Nasha.
Loss.
Loss.
Asti.
Asti.
There is.
There is.
Prachavaya.
Prachavaya.
Diminution.
Diminution.
Na.
Na.
Never.
Never.
Vidyate.
Vidyate.
There is.
There is.
Su alpha.
Su alpam.
A little.
A little.
So alpha means very, part and parcel. And su means very. Srila Prabhupada gave a talk on this verse, and he said even the most minuscule amount of devotional service is so beneficial. So beneficial. So even a little. Krishna is so kind. Api.
Api.
Although.
Although.
Asya.
Asya.
Of this.
Of this.
Dharmasya.
Dharmasya.
Occupation.
Occupation.
Trayate.
Trayate.
Releases.
Releases.
Mahata.
Mahata.
From very great.
From very great.
Bhayat.
Bhayat.
Danger.
Danger.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
So you'll have to forgive me because the entire screen doesn't fit on my phone screen, or I should say the web page doesn't fit on my phone screen. So I'm moving it from left to right, right to left. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous fear. So please repeat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution,
there is no loss or diminution,
and a little advancement on this path
and a little advancement on this path
can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Activity and Krishna consciousness are acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. So Srila Rupa Goswami gives the definition of pure devotional service. Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karma janavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttamam. So bhaktir uttamam, the highest devotional service. Anya bilashita shunyam. Shunya means nil, zero. No jnana karma janavritam. So we should be freed, as Srila Prabhupada begins this purport, we should be free of expectations. Sometimes people pray to God and they're asking for some type of a benefit, some type of a reward. And if they don't get it, they may even become atheists. Srila Prabhupada gave the example during World War II that so many husbands and sons went to the war. So the wives, the mothers, they prayed to Krishna, please, please let my son come back alive. And if they did not, Srila Prabhupada said, many of them became atheists. So Srila Prabhupada emphasized, pointed out to us that we should not make God our order supplier. He knows what is best for us. Krishna knows what is best for us. And he knows especially what will encourage us in devotional service. That's Krishna's wish. That's his main concern for us, is that we make advancement, that we go back to Godhead in this lifetime. That's the goal of life, to go back to Krishna. We learned in Christian school, when I went to Christian school, that Jesus said that we have to develop our love for God. We have to learn how to dedicate our heart and soul to God. That's his highest teaching. But how to do that, the Christian philosophy falls short. As I said, they know to sing the names of God. Actually, there's a part of the Bible, it's called Psalms, and it explains there that you should glorify God's name from the rising of the sun to the setting. And it actually explains that you should do this with cymbals and drums and trumpets, etc. So again, the Christian theology falls a little short, even singing the name of God. But anyway, Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada also appreciated that they prayed to God. That's nice. And even if they're asking for something mundane, akama sarvakamova mokshakama udaradi kevrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So even approaching Krishna with some type of a desire, like Queen Kunti said, well, I'm praying to Krishna to protect my family. She says, that's my duty as a mother, as a wife, etc., that I have to pray and ask Krishna to protect us. But she also explained that when the calamities happen, I'm trying to remember the verse, Vipada Shantita Shashvat, Tatra Tatra Jagatguru. I think that's the verse, that when these calamities happen, that they make the devotee pray to Krishna even more intensely. So anyway, in all circumstances, the devotee tries to utilize everything to remember Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada's emphasizing in this very first line that we don't expect any sense gratification from our devotional service. Rather, we depend on Krishna. So I'll continue reading. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. So no one can stop our Krishna consciousness. So in the beginning days, we used to get arrested quite often. I'm sure Pyari Mohan Prabhu explained that. He was on the Radha Damodar Sankirtan party with us, many times we were arrested. So when you're arrested, the first thing they do is they take away your beads, your japa mala, and also these kanti mala that we wear on our neck. They say you can't wear any jewelry in jail. So he said, but these are not jewelry. This is very sacred. Well, it's very dangerous. Someone may choke you with it, or we don't want you hanging yourself, etc. So we have to take it off. So we would tell them that we can't take it off. It's here permanently. They said, well, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to cut it off. So they would cut the string that holds the beads, and all the beads would fall all over the floor. They would say, I'm sorry, we have to take this off. So approximately 1980, let's see, I think it was 82, possibly, when I went to India again. So I was purchasing, yes, probably 82. Anyway, it could have been 92, whatever. We go to India so often, Krishna's mercy. But anyway, I was purchasing some kanti mala, and I said, oh, I have to have them with clasps. I have to have them with clasps because so the Tulsiwala and different people were standing around, and they said, why do you want them with clasps? We think that sometimes you don't want to be a devotee, so you can take them off. I said, no, it's not. That's not the reason. That I said the reason is that we get arrested, and if they cut them off, the beads fly everywhere, all over the floor, and they're Tulsi, they're sacred. So they said, they were doubting. They said, really? Have you ever been arrested? They asked me. I said, yes, I've been arrested at least 100 times. So because not nowadays, it's pretty rare that we get arrested nowadays. But back then, at that time, we were still getting arrested. So we had the beads on clasp. And then they appreciated, after I told them I had been arrested 100 times, they very much appreciated. But anyway, when we would go to jail, sometimes even some of the other, because you would be put in a holding room in the beginning, and possibly you would be put into a private room if you were staying for longer. So in the holding room, sometimes the other people there, they would become irate that we were chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. They would say, "Can you just shut up?" We were just, they were being disturbed. They were irritated by their chanting. So then we chanted, more or less mentally rather than verbally, or we chanted so softly they couldn't hear. And because no one can stop us from chanting, we chanted our 16 rounds in jail. One time I was in jail for 4 days. And because I was arrested on a Friday and I wouldn't be able to go to court until Monday. So I spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, the judge called me before the judge, and he asked me for $100. I said, "Oh, Your Honor, I'm sorry, I'm a monk. I don't have $100. She said, "Oh, you're going right back to jail." I said, "Oh, Your Honor, I haven't eaten for 4 days because we're vegetarian. I'm a monk. We don't eat meat," and that's what they were serving in the jail. So the judge said, "Well, unless you have $100, you're going back to jail." He wanted to set a precedence, I guess, for whoever else was in the courtroom, because there were many other people there to be heard. So they sent me back to the cell, but in about an hour, the guards came and they said, "Come on, you can leave. We're letting you go." I said, "Oh, that's very wonderful," because I was worried. Of course, I drank water. They had water in the cell, but they were only serving sandwiches that had meat on it. And the person I was in the cell with, he said, "Just take the meat off and eat the bread." I said, "No, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that." So when I got out of jail, the devotees had just pulled up to get me out of jail. And so I told them, "Oh, I hope you brought some prasadam." And they said, "Oh, didn't you know? Today's a fasting day." I was like, really? What? I was a little, taken aback. It's a fasting day. But fortunately, it was Srimati Radharani's appearance day. And the fasting was only till noon. And by that time, it was almost noon. And by the time I showered, because I hadn't showered for 4 days, can imagine. So by the time I showered and got ready, it was time to take prasadam, Krishna's mercy. But anyway, no one could stop our devotional service. Even in jail, we were able to chant. We can chant on our fingers. So let's continue reading. So the next sentence is that any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. That's very wonderful. One idea Srila Prabhupada gave us, one inspiration that he gave us in our devotional service when we were on Radha Damodar party, we were collecting, distributing books, and collecting donations. And we knew that our donations, Srila Prabhupada was building Mayapur, he was building Vrindavan, he was building Mumbai temples. So every day our party was sending, not every day, but every month our party was sending Srila Prabhupada about $30,000. Krishna's mercy. So Srila Prabhupada gave us the inspiration that every farthing that the materialistic conditioned souls donate, they're saved from going to the deepest, darkest regions of hellish existence. Only recently did I look up a farthing. That's, of course, an old English term. Srila Prabhupada learned many old English terms, like, for instance, Godhead. Is a term very rarely used anymore. Most people don't understand. That's also in the dictionary. Godhead means the kingdom of God. Srila Prabhupada would use it as meaning the head God, Godhead. Wonderful. Krishna is the head God. So anyway, farthing, I looked it up in the dictionary, 1/25th of a cent. Now, we can't divide up a cent in the West. We have cents, right? Can't divide it up, but 1/25th of a cent. So Srila Prabhupada said they're saved from going to the deepest, darkest regions of hellish existence. For me, that's tremendous solace. One of the reasons that I did not relate well with Christianity was eternal damnation. Either you make it or you don't make it. I didn't like that idea. I wanted to believe that God, we were taught actually, God is very merciful, he's very kind, he's all-knowing, he's all good, etc. So I could not relate to this concept of eternal damnation. So when I learned about karma, my gosh, that made so much sense to me. Answered so many, why are people born crippled? Some very strong, some very poor, some very wealthy. This is nicely explained in karma. And when I went to the temple, one of the first things the devotees asked me is if I believe in the soul. I said, yes, I believe in the soul. They said, oh, where was your soul 100 years ago? This shocked me. This question took me by surprise. I had no clue. I had never thought, where was my soul 100 years ago? Was I with God? I didn't think so. I don't think I just now came from God and now I'm here. So I understood I accepted that I was in another body. I was in another life. And there's actually people who remember a previous life, right? But anyway, in the material world, why are some people fail? What would be considered a material failure? For instance, they don't finish school, or they start some project, some business, for instance, and it fails. And other people, as Srila Prabhupada pointed out, he used the term that they're born with a golden spoon in their mouth. She'll probably use the example of the Ford family. And of course, Alfred Ford, Ambarish Prabhu, such a wonderful devotee, right? Helping to build Mayapur and fundraise for Mayapur, etc. So there's a reason. The materialists, they have no clue. Why would you go to the children's hospital, so many children suffering, and they again, some may even become atheists. How could there be a God allowing this? But instead of blaming it on God, we should understand that it's due to our own karma. Even I ask Christians, why are some people born crippled? Oh, God is trying to teach a lesson. I said, oh, that definition puts the blame on God. I don't like that definition. I tell them I find that very, very unfair, very unjust of God to put someone in a very, no, don't worry, God has again, putting the blame on God. So we should understand that karma is a very real factor in the material world. So let's continue reading. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Isn't that wonderful? You know, in the material world, if a business fails, you lose your money, etc., people are so despondent. How can they get it back? I have a friend recently, of course, everyone knows that the stock market crashed. So I have a friend, he lost $1 million on the stock market. He said, Govinda, what I did, I borrowed another $1 million from my family, promising them I would get it back. This family member, that family member, this family member, that family member. He said, I've lost that also. He said, now I want to commit suicide. I said, oh, look, you lost that money, it was your bad karma. I said, now if you commit suicide, it's even more bad karma. So I said, don't increase your bad karma. Don't increase your bad karma. I said, it's very, very important that you don't commit suicide. And I said, it's unfortunate that you didn't just donate that money to Krishna. So he said, well, get it back from me and I'll give you half. That's his materialistic side, unfortunately. But anyway, the point is that he heard Krishna and he's benefited. So Prabhupada goes on to say, let's see here. So we begin from anyone who performs 1% of Krishna consciousness begins in the next life from 2%, whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. A Jamil, very, very beautiful example. A Jamil performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. There's a nice verse in this connection in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1.5.17. Chakta sadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajan apakvo ta patet tato yadi yatra kvava badram abad amushakim kovarta apto bhajatam sadharmata. If someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? Or, as the Christians say, what profiteth a man if he gains the whole world, yet suffers the loss of his eternal soul? Of course, we can't lose the soul, but the meaning is that we fall short of developing our love for God. Jesus taught that his greatest commandment was to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. That's what I was trying to remember. So if we fall short of that, then according to the Christian idea, then one is not able, he's at a loss. But according to Christian consciousness, we understand that there's no loss, that we can again begin from the point of 2% Prabhupada uses, or 50%, etc. Never any loss. But Srila Prabhupada greatly emphasized, especially to those of us who have now taken initiation and are more serious on our path of Krishna consciousness, that we not wait, because it's very, very dangerous. This material world is very dangerous. I'm here at Venice Beach, and it is so bombarded with Maya. Illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating. There must be some gambling here as well. Of course, people are gambling their lives constantly, but very intense illicit sex, very intense meat eating, very intense intoxication here. So this is just the beginning. Kali Yuga is progressing. I cannot even imagine. How more intense it will become, but that is there. So we'll continue reading. Material activities and their results end with the body. Prabhupada warned us. Even if we achieve so many titles in the material world: doctor, lawyer, engineer, president of a company, president of a country. Who knows? Prabhupada would say, who knows now, where is, for instance, Napoleon, such a famous person? Where is he now? Is there any guarantee that he's even a human form of body? Prabhupada said, we're very proud, for instance, of taking birth in America, for instance. So many people very proud, I'm American. But Prabhupada said, what's the guarantee you will be born in America in your next life? There's no guarantee. So anything, Prabhupada warns here, any material activities and their results end with the body. But Prabhupada says, work done in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. So when we become devotees, I was just listening to a lecture this morning, Srila Prabhupada's warning, when we become devotees, even our own family turns against us. Our friends, so many that we thought were close to us. In my younger days in Krishna consciousness, earlier days of Krishna consciousness, there were a group of people called deprogrammers. So the deprogrammers, they would contact the parents of devotees, and they would, for some payment, they would actually kidnap the devotees and do what they term deprogram the devotee. Deprogram them. I'm sure you've heard of this. So the parents were so anxious, so upset that the devotees became Krishna conscious. They would tell their son or daughter, come back home, I will let you smoke marijuana, etc. I will personally buy you the marijuana, whatever, the intoxication, whatever. They would try to bribe their children. So in this way, they would try to lure their children away from Krishna consciousness, but that wasn't possible. Most devotees were not allured, were not tricked by this. So we can finish reading this purport here. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So my understanding is that after a short period of Krishna consciousness, we will be born in the family of a wealthy person and able to be given the opportunity of progressing in Krishna consciousness. And after a very long period in Krishna consciousness, if we fall short of achieving our highest goal, that we will be born into the family of Brahmanas. Now, generally, Brahmanas are not wealthy. They may not be wealthy. Actually, they may be quite poor. So one may say, well, I don't understand that. But actually being born in a Brahmana family, for instance, taking birth in India, Srila Prabhupada explained that so much opportunity is there for understanding Krishna. It's a great boon. It's a great benediction to be able to be born in India. And of course, there are people in India, of course, not appreciating Krishna consciousness as well. But in general, it's a greater boon, and especially being born in a Brahmana family. Whereas if you're born in a wealthy family, you may again become very distracted. Wealth generally is a distraction. Even Ambarish Prabhu, he explained that wealth was a huge distraction for his family to take up Krishna consciousness, because with wealth comes so much prestige, and especially in the beginning days, Krishna consciousness was very few people could identify with it. Yoga was ridiculed. Vegetarianism, my friends used to try to sneak meat into my food. Dude, you're going to die unless you eat some meat. They were firmly convinced that I would be dead by now. So they tried to sneak meat into my food. I believe they had my interest. I don't think that they were being demoniac. But the meat industry has us, it's a very powerful industry. They have us convinced. And even still today, people ask, oh my gosh, you don't eat meat? Where do you get your protein? But anyway, Krishna consciousness is so wonderful, so valuable. So we should take advantage. We should hear and chant nicely and be inspired. I would like to leave time for any questions or comments or any corrections that anyone has. I hope that's part of your program. Hare Krishna, are you there?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhu.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't lose connection. I was worried.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the wonderful class. I have a quick
Thank
question.
you, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, as you said, whatever the devotional service we do, it's like it is permanent asset. And let's say if somebody is 1%, 2%, in the next life, they will start from the third or fourth. I mean, they will start from there. But if we think like that, and we have so many. I mean, sometimes when we think about it, we feel like it is going to be like it's going to be very difficult for us to achieve the ultimate goal. So how we will know, especially in this life, how we can do that, Prabhuji?
Well, we should be very strict with ourselves. So again, we were on traveling Sankirtan, for so many years. So Tamal Krishna Goswami, he was our party leader. He asked Srila Prabhupada, these boys are away from temples. Can they buy some bread sometimes? Srila Prabhupada did not hesitate. He said, no, they should not eat any food stuff, any grains cooked by non-devotees. So if we remain pure, this will be very helpful. We've taken vow to chant 16 rounds. Somehow, by Krishna's mercy, I asked for a benediction from Krishna when I got initiated. When Srila Prabhupada handed me my beads, I said, Krishna, I promise if I keep my 16 rounds, I'm asking you for the benediction that I never lose the beads that Srila Prabhupada is giving me. And somehow to this day, I still have my initiated beads. Krishna's mercy. So we should take these different inspirations. We should see Srila Prabhupada's example, and we can live a very happy life. Vishnu Jan Swami, I traveled with Vishnu Jan Swami for some time, Tamal Krishna Goswami. So he would be preaching to some guests, and he would say, you should join us. And they would say, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And they say, and he would tell them, oh, why not? Why not? Is it our food? They would say, oh, no, it's not the food. Okay, is it the way that we dress? No, it's not the way that you dress. I said, and then he would ask them, is it the chanting? No, we like the chanting. He said, well, then it must be something wrong with you. You should join. Because Prabhupada would tell us Krishna consciousness is so wonderful. All we have to do is chant, dance, and take prasadam. And ultimately that's true. Of course, everyone has to work. Yagnartat karmanonyata loko yam karma bandhana taratam karma kuntaya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. So otherwise, work binds us to this material world. So somehow we have to keep our focus on engaging in Krishna consciousness. Yes, we should be very careful. Srila Prabhupada quoted Srila Bhakti Siddhanta that we should be very careful to go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime, and life is very short. Now I'm in my 60s. I can remember my 50s. I can remember my 40s, 30s, 20s. I joined Krishna consciousness when I was a teenager, right? So time is so relative. And now when I think back between, my teenage years and now, it's just a flash. Probably everyone listening here, they're at least in their 20s. And even for them, 20 years, it's a flash. And so Srila Prabhupada was lying down before he left his body in this world. And he said, don't worry, soon you will be here. And I found it very difficult to relate to that. But now many of my god brothers have left their bodies. And very disappointingly, recently Bhakti True Swami. Oh my gosh, what a loss. What a loss. Very, very deep loss, very big loss for ISKCON, very big loss for all of us. So we don't have even 7 days warning. Prabhupada said that, Maharaj Parikshit, he had, wasn't it 7 days, right? Before the snake bird came. We don't have 7 minutes warning. So we should take Krishna consciousness very seriously, and Krishna will arrange different calamities in our life, actually. Krishna will arrange different things to help us become much more serious about our Krishna consciousness. The loss of Bhakti True Swami is one of those things. It's one of our impetuses, and there may be many more impetuses that we have, but we should utilize all of those things to help us become more serious. Sometimes I pray to Krishna because I know I was suffering greatly before I came to Krishna consciousness. I was going to college and I was working. So I was sleeping very little, sometimes 4 hours. I was sleeping and just intensely suffering. So sometimes I pray to Krishna, let me remember that suffering so that I don't try to look in the world and think I can enjoy. I'm trying to start this dinner at UCLA. So my family left there when my father left his body. He left me an inheritance. So anyway, Krishna sent me some Lakshmi to do this. Of course, now the college right now the college is closed. But anyway, we're trying to start this at UCLA and many other schools. But because I feel like Krishna lunch, I started a food truck at the University of Hawaii when I was there. And our first year, we were able to bring 6 devotees full time to the temple. 2 of them are still living in the temple. 2 of them graduated and went to their home. 2 of them are still in college, but it's very, very wonderful, this program. And there are so many other, I'm sure, wonderful programs, and I'm sure you devotees are doing a great job. Again, I haven't visited there. I really wish to visit ISKCON Boston. Pray to Krishna I'm able to do that. But yeah, so we're praying to stay focused. We have to pray for this mercy, pray for the chance, the taste. Mr. John Swami was very fond of that song. Kabe habe bolo se dina mar. And he would love to recite, when, oh, when will that day be mine? When my offenses ceasing, taste for the name increasing. When in my heart will your mercy shine? Oh, when will that day be mine? Vishnu John Swami would give these beautiful talks. We would be at the university and he would stop the kirtan. We'd have a group of students around us and he would give these beautiful talks. And that was one of the verses he loved to recite. When will we have a taste for chanting? So anyway, Prabhu, that's we could actually, that's a beautiful question. And this is one verse that will also give us impetus that Srila Prabhupada wants us, to become inspired that there's no laws, but at the same time, take up the practice of Krishna consciousness wholly and fully and sincerely. Maybe someone else has some comment. Hare Krishna. I heard
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Can you please share what you plan to do at UCLA, and so that it can inspire us, Maharaj?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Who am I speaking to?
My name is Krishnan.
Krishnan, Hare Krishna. So I started a prasadam distribution at University of Hawaii, and I would like to start a prasadam distribution just like Krishna Lunch at UCLA. So if you go to the website krishnalunch.com, you will see how wonderful. I actually helped there in 1974. The Radha Damodar party went through Gainesville, and we stopped there, and we were distributing prasadam. And to this day, it's so successful. Even it's 46 years later, 47 years later since they started, and it's a very wonderful program of distributing prasadam, distributing books, and
Sri Govinda Prabhu.
Yes.
Our Sunday Aarti time.
Yes. Okay.
As 30. Is it okay? We can take a pause now.
Yes. Thank you all very much. I thank you for your association. And as you can see, the beach is it's very packed. I want to join the Hari Nam. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay. On behalf of entire ISKCON Boston, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to you. So all the devotees please express our gratitude by loudly chanting Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Haribo, Haribo.
Thank you,
Haribo.
Prabhu. Wonderful services.
Thank you.
Talk to you sometime later soon. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, now we'll be having our kirtan. By your permission, should we start our kirtan?
Yes, of
Prabhu?
course. Yes, I'm walking
Okay.
over to the devotee. There's only two of us for the Harinam, and I'm walking
Okay.
up to the devotee now. So thank you, Prabhu. I'll sign off.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
All
Hare Bol.
glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I don't know how to sign off. Yeah. Hello? That's I'm with him.
Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu Nityananda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Thank you, devotees, for joining. Next week we will all meet again.
Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopi Vallabh.
Jai.
Jai.